Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Resurrection Cup 2026. Now time for the round of 16. My name is Taikani, joined by Demarsh. And Demarsh, we've got a hell of a match today in the winner's bracket. JeongJin versus Let's LARP. How are you feeling?
I'm doing very well. I'm doing very, very well. I'm really looking forward to this one. We've got two very closely seeded teams in this one. Slight correction, though. I don't believe this is the winner's bracket.
Is this not?
I believe both these teams lost last week.
You are right. You are right. For some reason, so Let's LARP, I commentated their match last week. It was a sweep. I thought Let's LARP won. That's crazy.
But yes, we're here anyway. Yeah, so between these two teams, both of them very closely seeded coming out of the qualifiers. 22nd seed versus 27th seed. But despite that, JeongJin, having the lower seed, managed to actually pick up a victory against Rectangle last week compared to Let's LARP, who, like you said, just got cleanly sweeped. Really interested to kind of get into the pick and ban sort of mentality here between these two teams, because there's a little bit of overlap there with some of these picks.
Yeah, for sure. I will say, you know, as much as it was a sweep, Let's LARP. If you watched that stream last week, it was a competitive match from Let's LARP, 100%. Just a little lower on all of the scores, but fighting till the end on every single one. So I'm excited to see what they can do. It's a higher star pool, of course, which is going to make fighting just a little bit harder.
Absolutely. And what I find interesting, especially about these two teams, I believe they both banned Hard Rock maps last week against their respective opponents, with Let's LARP banning that Hard Rock 2 and Rectangle banning that Hard Rock 1. But despite that, we did see JeongJin actually pick into the precise Hard Rock 2. So whether we're going to see Let's LARP kind of stick with their guns on that, on the precise Hard Rock 2s, is kind of up in the air at the moment. It's definitely potential, though.
Yeah, and it's interesting when we look at Hard Rock Comfort, right? The Hard Rock 1 and Hard Rock 2, neither of these are going to be like aim, right? This Hard Rock 2 is this really, really tough kind of flow aim map, where Hard Rock 1 is just straight slider aim. Like, it's something where if you are not feeling comfortable on the Hard Rock, you want to ban Hard Rock 2, that is the biggest, like, screaming sign in the world. You can go ahead, you can pick Hard Rock 1, we're not feeling confident.
Absolutely. And again, on the other side of that, I definitely see, you know, a team like Let's LARP kind of trying to lean so much more heavily into the stamina and faster picks. But then again, saying that, there goes the DT2 ban. So there's I believe that's a stamina pick gone.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I would say it's interesting because it's kind of like a flow control sort of map. It's 207 BPM, so it's not so crazy on the tapping stamina for the level of tournament this is. However, like, the flow control of the map with the way the streams are angled is very, very, very difficult. So I'm wondering if they're just not really feeling it in that kind of flow aim department, where it's a lot of these straight streams, a lot of wiggles, rather than the traditional curve streams that we tend to see. But like you said, it's very interesting to ban this at all. This feels like a pick that is solidly in their department.
Yeah, for sure. But that does present itself as maybe they're going to just pick into the sort of awkward aimier maps, perhaps, rather than necessarily relying on the tapping focus of things. I still expect them to kind of lean into some of that stuff, but certainly on the side of JeongJin, I think they definitely want to target some of the more hidden picks as well. I definitely think they need to isolate some of those. Whether they'll actually go into them, they are going to go for a reading pick, which is the No Mod 5. So in the same capacity.
Yeah, I think when you look at the hidden reading specifically, you're looking at hidden 2, you're looking at free mod 2, and actually both of them are fairly aim focused. So I think getting rid of the no mod 5, just they really do not want to focus on reading specifically. Where hidden 2, free mod 2, you can at least aim a little bit, right? There's a little more of that element present. So completely understandable when you want to get rid of reading. Like no mod 5 should be the first to go every time.
So that does pretty much just wrap up those bans. I mean, I know, especially with JeongJin, when they were picked against last week, they were very much picked into a lot of those stamina maps, the tapping maps, anything like that was very much what they were bullied on in a broader sense. So I wouldn't be surprised to see more of that if Let's LARP get the opportunity. But I'm really curious to see what this first pick is going to be, because it's not what I was expecting. There's the no mod 2.
Very interesting. JeongJin opening up with tapping. This is Monochrome Voice, a 240 BPM burst map mapped by Rollpan. A lot of this is 5-note bursts on repeat. You get some longer bursts here and there. The longest burst you're going to see is 17 notes long at the end of each ki, but most of the bursts in this map are going to be 5-note, and there's a little bit of aim. Certainly not as much as other maps within the no mod pool, but there is a little bit of aim requirement to this map.
Yeah, for certain. It's quite a bit different from what we saw last week in terms of speed, but a lot of the mechanics are relatively overlapping. The BPM is pretty much identical on this one, so I'm not expecting too much of a different result, apart from the fact that this was not a pick for JeongJin last week, but it is apparently this week. So I'm curious to see how these two teams stack up on these speedy picks, because it's not really something we have had a chance to compare properly.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I mean, we could look at qual results for reference, right? JeongJin hovering around like 1.4 on a lot of the faster picks. While if you look at Let's LARP, honestly, they actually are a little bit lower. JeongJin, you have like 1.4 on the DT1, 1.4 on the no mod 2. They start to fall off on the DT2 and the DT3 a little bit. So JeongJin, just on terms of qual results, might have the advantage here on paper, but it is very, very close score-wise. I don't think it's one way or the other.
And so with that, we're ready to kick off this round of 16 match. It is the losers bracket, so it is all to play for here to stay in Resurrection Cup 2026. We're going to start off this first map. It's no mod 2. Very bursty, very intensive, but not a long map either, so it's not drawing on a lot of players' stamina, as you will see with other maps in the pool.
Yeah, certainly not. You see the aim requirement early on. These jumps are like not the most space in the world, but at 240 BPM, you gotta try a little bit to hit them. Bronya, lifetime finding early breaks. Bronya doesn't seem very comfortable at all. We saw a break pretty much immediately out the gate. The accuracy has not recovered. No breaks traded from the opposing side early on in this map means that there's going to be a score difference to start to build for JeongJin into the slow section. Your first ki, where Let's LARP really needs to find some sort of consistency, but they do see Bronya fall. Again, Garalulu finally trades one, but it's 2 SDs to 1. Currently make it 0. Mango goes down. Lifetime now the highest combo on the opposing side, but both FCs on JeongJin break. Lifetime breaks to follow it up, so it's not going to be a huge score swing, and Mango was a banjo break, actually.
Now that very much changes the narrative here. As Mango got good accuracy off the back of it as well. Only 17k score difference. As it stands, it will flip back over as long as Mango holds onto this combo. Not an intensive section for a little bit here. Gonna allow that combo to build up quite nicely. Just get back into those aim elements that you mentioned. Really hitting them hard. And good supporting combo from Bronya as well is going to help them maintain this lead. Not really an opportunity for JeongJin to get back into this one.
Yeah, Bronya finally finds comfort when it matters the most. Heading into the second Ki, Mango able to hold on through all of this dreams. Bronya finally finds a break, but it's the Mango show now. What we thought was a break turning into nothing at all has huge implications as Let's LARP able to hold on to their singular FC. Maybe a little nerves at the break for Mango at both points, but able to hold on to the point of no return. Finally finds the break at the end, but a 200k score difference is going to mean Let's LARP finally taking their first point of Resurrection Cup, and it is a break point.
Yeah, very big surprise there, I think, for JeongJin. They got a massive wake-up call, as that was not as easy as they thought. They very much ran into some difficulty, especially with Garalulu really struggling in the accuracy department. That's probably what held them back the most. Combos across the board fairly even, and just a one miss from my keyboard as well. Really kind of hurting them there a little bit. But like you said, very good results off Mango at the full combo. Good supporting combo as well from Bronya, really solidifying that point, getting them on the board for the first time in Res Cup.
Yeah, a nice way to do it on a pick that I think, like, again, in theory, they looked a little worse for wear on compared to JeongJin, especially after that DT2 ban. You know, things start to come into question with the tapping mechanics, but looking good. The No Mod 3 pick to follow. Very, very tough aim control snap alt.
Oh, what a classic map. I think this is a classic map. I've definitely seen this background before. It's the map I'm thinking of. But yeah, very simple. It probably isn't, knowing me.
Yeah,
oh yeah, definitely not.
Vasily and Archie. This one 134 BPM, so I would say on the lower end of alt BPMs. But there's a lot of high spacing variation actually, and that's what I find the most interesting about this map. Is it's almost a jump map, honestly. There is some really, really high spacing patterns that can kind of come out of nowhere on this map.
Yeah, and it's an interesting choice from Let's LARP, because this was, well, comparatively, last week's No Mod 3, the alt map that JeongJin lost on, it was their opening pick against Rectangle. So to see it here, picked against them, is a bit of an awkward situation, and you kind of can't put a clear winner on this. Yeah, Let's LARP, you know, having a great performance out the gate, but picking into something that your opponents were quite comfortable picking into last week kind of leaves a little bit of a... It leaves something hanging in the air, to be sure.
Yeah, it's been some strange picks to open up the match. Like, this is not the pick ban phase that I expected to start off this match here. Continually surprised. Here we go, start on the No Mod 3. Pretty consistent in terms of difficulty overall. Of course, higher spacing in the Ki's, but there's going to be high spacing variation at every single point in this map. Literally any pattern you can get caught out on.
Early reset there for Nakio. And another one. Was not really adjusting very well to this map out of the gate. It is a longer one though. Closer to the 3-minute mark. But Maccabea trying a reset as well. So it's a fairly late trade, but one that'll benefit Let's LARP going forward. Kind of look
yeah, my keyboard goes down. That's a little more impactful with the My Keyboard break. Now you're looking at 2 FCs to 1. Ronipan, the only FC holding on. Given that the Mikhail break was much earlier than the others, it's a pretty strong start for Let's LARP going into the first Ki. And you really see like the jump map element here. Maccabea filing a break on it. It's just so high spacing on this 134 BPM. Mikhail finds a break. it up a little bit, but it is still a massive score lead for Let's LARP.
Yeah, they've really defined the margin here. As Bronya does find a reset as well. So really starting to lean heavily on that no KJKFC. But with Ronipan still there, the danger starts to come from my keyboard, who's on a very nice recovery. Macabea finding a reset though, so that's going to slow things right the way down. We're sitting at about 100k right now. In a very comfortable position for Let's LARP still.
Yeah, absolutely. But like you said, you are still entirely reliant on that no KJK break. You don't have the recovery on Bronya or Mikhail to make up if something were to happen to no KJK. And the score lead again is still draining. My keyboard and Ronipan now have that combo kind of set up, ready to go for JeongJin. Going to the last Ki. Not a ton of objects density, but it might be enough to take it back right at the end if everything stays in the status quo. Macabea and Bronya find traded breaks, but frankly, those are not the combos that matter. It's the 4 players on the bottom of the screen that have the most impact right now.
Yeah, the bottom row is the place to watch. Shift your eyes towards that location. It's both Note KJK and Ronipan both on in this full combos, but that my keyboard break might be the decisive one. With no time left to recover now, there's just nothing that JeongJin can do. They're not going to be able to make up that score lead without a major disaster from Let's LARP here.
Yeah, close one, but JeongJin once again going to watch the Nomad 3 go the opponent's way. Nope KJK with an FC matched by Ronipan, but Nope KJK a little higher act. But really, the big story here is the supporting combos from Mikhail and Bronya. There was really no match for Bronya on the other side of the scoreboard. Like, Macabea just did not have a combo that went nearly as high as Bronya's did, and that was the real difference on this map.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And again, it doesn't matter how good your strongest player is if the team cohesiveness is just not there. And you're always going to be trailing behind and preying on a miss from your opponents. In this case, it was Let's LARP. They were hoping that one of those supporting combos would go, but just not enough. And so they find themselves in a 0-2 deficit. Looking now to reshift focus, perhaps. Maybe going into the mod pools a little bit. To try and find some stability.
It's no mod pool at all. The battle of mechanics consistency continues with the no mod 1, the last blue sky mapped by Made. This is just straight 200 BPM consistency check. It is straight aim with low spacing 1/4 patterns scattered throughout. The 1/4 patterns, they aren't very long. Most of them are bursts. This is literally all about consistency. This isn't raw aim like we've seen in no mod 1s recently. Even within, I want to say the No Mod 1 last week was more raw aim than this, and actually higher BPM. So this one, like, you just have to be the most consistent player in the world, but I worry about this pick a little bit from JeongJin because I don't feel like consistency has been the name of the game from them.
No, and again, it's something that I think, the elephant in the room in this map being just how long it is. It's over 5 minutes. So we're in for a long one. If you have one of those combos from, Let's LARP that's going to run away on this pool, then you're really going to struggle to recover. And we've already seen that happen, especially on that No Mod 3. Those supporting combos that come up from those Let's LARP players are the danger zone here. So JeongJin kind of taking a risk. I think they're hoping on some standout performances from certain individuals on this roster, but they've really got to put it together here. I think this is going to be a really critical pick for them. If they can't flip this here and get that point on the board, they're going to be a real deficit, because Let's LARP just looking very confident right now.
Yeah, standout performances, the name of the game. The hope is for a star carry player on JeongJin to bring it through on this No Mod 1. Like you said, the longest map in the standard pool, with by the way, a 7-minute tiebreaker upcoming. Certainly not even close to the longest map in the pool in general, but like, this is TV1, right? This is so long at 5 minutes 30. You have to feel so consistent. You cannot get nervous at any point on this map because it will just destroy you. Garalulu, Ronipan, my keyboard versus Cymango, Lifetime, Note KJK, lock in, 5 minutes 30 left to go.
Again, as the map progresses, you know, especially if there isn't a lot of drain time on a map like this, you know, your aim going to start to falter, the consistency does drop off towards the end. You know, maybe your pen or your mouse grip doesn't quite sit where it would naturally want it to be. You have to do some awkward snaps that can cause misaims. That's typically what happens towards the tail end of maps, especially ones as lengthy as this, but we'll see how it develops. Lifetime going to be the first one to break the deadlock. That's going to give the advantage over to JeongJin. It's what they want to start this off, but we got a long, long way to go here.
We certainly do. It's also worth pointing out that JeongJin did have the accuracy advantage early on, and Cymango goes down right before the break! That's actually a pretty impactful break. Every single member of the teams on this map are going to be able to see that the combo advantage now kind of firmly in JeongJin's favor, right? You have 2 sudden breaks in the intro section of this map, a quarter of the way done. Nope, KJK is going to be the only FC remaining for Let's LARP, and it's the player you want to be FCing for sure, but not the ideal situation in general.
No, a lot of pressure now going to slip to Note KJK. And you hope that the members of JeongJin, they're going to be looking at that going, we've got the advantage in our hands right now. We just need to play comfortably. We don't need to take any big risks. We're not relying, there's no pressure here on us. It's all on Note KJK now for the side of Let's LARP. If that combo goes, we're facing an almost impossible hill to climb, but the recoveries from Lifetime and Cymango going to be helping if a mistake comes in from JeongJin here. That's a big hill.
Absolutely, but it's all about consistency, right? There's so many jumps to hold on through this map. Garalulu finds a break on actually kind of nothing. Ronipan, my keyboard, still holding on to FCs. Are still going to hold on to an advantage, I believe, but it's not going to go up very fast.
I think it was the SS curse there.
Yeah, that's true. Garalulu was SSing.
But it's still pretty much in JeongJin's favor. Those 2 full combos going to be doing some work. Garalulu can recover. You know, Let's LARP still can't make any headway here on this score. And Cymango finding the reset. That is not going to bode well for them. With Lifetime going as well. He's reliant on a single combo, which is gone again. From no KJK.
And they win the consistency gambit, frankly. The entire Let's LARP squad goes down in one swift blow. You still got 2 FCs remaining on JeongJin. The 300k lead, I don't know if this is losable at any point.
So all they can really do now is watch as the score margin begins to shoot off into orbit. As we go into the last quarter, Garalulu finds a break, but it's not the one that Let's LARP would pray and dream for right now. And they'd need 2 of them. There's my keyboard and Ronipan putting on a clinic right now. Look at this consistency.
Yeah, 2's an understatement. When this team's playing like this, they get 1. Ronipan goes down. Nerves getting to the player, but it's done. It's dusted. It's over 500k score lead. My keyboard's still holding on as well, just for good measure. Little shakes to the aim, but it doesn't matter. You've got this one in the bag for Team JeongJin. I bet it feels nice, you know, losing your first pick, then getting your first pick from last week essentially picked against you. To get a Nomad 1 that looks so dominant has to feel amazing.
And they're really kind of setting a good precedent, you know, breaking the momentum that Let's LARP was starting to build up with those first 2 picks, right? They're just starting to get comfortable into this match, and then this is really going to throw a spanner in the works, because this wasn't even close, score margin-wise. This is a massive offset for a Nomad 1.
Not even close. And even their like one player who hasn't been able to contribute so much to the score. In fact, if you remove Garalulu from the match entirely, they would still win by like pretty solid margins. Garlulu was assessing the first part of the map, right? Like, this was full team comfort on display. My keyboard will cross 1,000,000 right at the end. A really, really solid point for JeongJin.
And again, that kind of speaks to their potential. You could easily be looking at a 3-way FC here for JeongJin, whereas Let's LARP, it's hard to put them in that round because they were still getting misses later on into that map. I just don't think it was a very solid pick for them, but for JeongJin, they'll say quite happily, we'll take that and bring that over to the Rose side, no problem, as they get on the board with their pick, and it's over now to Let's LARP to really try and recover here.
Yeah, what's interesting is we've seen, like, straight mechanics picks, right? We've seen the Nomad 2, Nomad 1 from JeongJin. The Nomad 3, yeah, it's like technically more techie, but if you look at the map, it's kind of another A map. It's just fast. And so it's been straight mechanics all the way. I'm curious where Let's LARP goes. Do they want to explore a more techie side? Do they want to keep going down that, like, alt route? Or are they going to stick on the stuff that everybody's been performing on?
Yeah, again, we've not really seen anything outside of the Nomad pool yet, but maybe this pick, oh no, it's going to continue. We fire through them. We've seen Nomads 1 to 4 now, with the original for the Nomad pool.
Mods are fake anyways. Who wants to play those?
Optional side quests.
Exactly. This Nomad 4, exciting, a Resurrection Cup 2026 original song by the Beat Wizard. This one has my favorite title in the tournament for both revealed and unrevealed songs, by the way. I remember, like, because I'm a mapper, I was able to see through all the songs in advance, and this was easily my favorite one title-wise. Party in my head won't stop, so I called it a noise complaint. Really incredible. The Beat Wizard, great with the titles. They had another banger last year. I forgot exactly what it was, but it was so fire. This one, custom beat map, of course, by Fireblaze 3028, and this is 195 BPM. Just, it's pure, like, high density tech. A little bit of flow elements, but this isn't like tech streams with crazy, like, sliders and cuts. This is just tech and flow.
Oh, I remember exactly which map it was last year. Cthulhu ruined my sandcastle, so I threw sand at his face.
Yes! Thank you. Thank you. I saw the background in my mind, and that was it.
So, extremely iconic maps that I hope one day become loved.
Truly. Or ranked, you know?
You never know.
That would be great. And you can see the density already from the moment the map erupts. You got some longer sliders, nothing crazy long, and 3 breaks across the scoreboard, though frankly those are not going to be super impactful just from how early they are. Really, really see the rhythm density here.
And again, we're looking at Let's LARP to really try and get a recovery here, because if they drop this, they're going to be right back to square one, unfortunately for them. JeongJin, it's a great opportunity to carry on, push that momentum through a little bit more, but they are behind by quite a lot here early on.
Yeah, Let's LARP just looks way more comfortable. My keyboard and Note KJK traded breaks right before the break, but if you just look at the remaining combos, right, Bronya and Mikhail, they broke early on, but higher combos, but Mikhail finds a break on kind of nothing. The linear jumps right before we start to get a little more into the swing of things, and suddenly I think it might be a slight combo advantage to JeongJin.
Yeah, the accuracy's really not great on either side. Kind of support that score lead for Let's LARP, so unless they've got the combo, they've got nothing to really show for it. And Garalulu and Macbea with good combos at this stage is huge, and the support from my keyboard with the high accuracy is really going to bolster things for them. As at the halfway point, we're looking at a very different game from the first quarter, as JeongJin any moment now look to take the lead.
Yeah, so close. The next single break might be map defining here. Every single player, though, really trying not to give it up. Nobody gets caught out on a huge space burst. Right as we get into the build-up into the final KI, it's so tense right now. The score difference only 4 digits as we go into that last KI.
The scoreboard butting heads between red and blue. Can't decide what to do, as the accuracy of these two teams does factor into this so much. It's pushing towards JeongJin, and a break from no KJK at the worst possible time might just seal their fate. But Garalulu comes up with a miss as well, so once again we're looking at a very different game. Macbea drops, and look at that scoreboard, it flies! It flies!
That was the one combo matching Bronya. Bronya now completely uncontested. There's my keyword a little bit behind where Bronya is, but Mikhail was fighting my keyword off. Suddenly Mikhail finds a break. I would say it's actually not over quite yet. There's a little bit of density left, but suddenly it is over real quick. Bronya 1,352 combo to end it off. 800k. Sealing the deal. If Bronya had broken at any point, even, like 30, 40 objects before the end, we might have been looking at a completely different story entirely. It was really, really, really close. Let's LARP going to take it. Looked really comfortable at the beginning of the map, but the mid part of the map just was not their place to be. Finds the recovery, finds what they need to keep it a 3-1 advantageous scoreline.
And you look at those combos, and you realize that Let's LARP was set to lose that map, but Bronya really locking in after that early reset. Without that 1,300 combo, if that was closer to 1,000, they would not be walking away with that point. That's how close, really, that map was, and might sow the seeds of doubt really in Let's LARP on their tech proficiency, because JeongJin very capable here and looking like they can actually play that quite well. But will they stick with it? Well, the Nomad pool has officially ended, because that Nomad 5 was banned by JeongJin, cursing themselves now, as they've got no more Nomad maps left to play. Gonna have to go into a mod, but maybe they'll go into free mod to kind of keep that, or if they want to keep that one player off the mod.
Well, that's just the thing about Resurrection Cup. There is no Nomad in the free mod pool. This is essentially Force mod. 1 hidden player, 1 Hard Rock player, and 1 player with any mod combination, which does not include no mod. So we are officially playing modded Osu for the rest of this match.
Unless we go all the way.
Unless we go all the... That's, you know what? That's true. That's true. Unless everybody plays hidden on Tiebreaker.
So a lot of discussions kind of going on, and I think they need to be looking towards an Amy map. And they have found one. It is DT1. Very awkward, though.
Is they technically choose one. The one that they choose is 342 BPM. This is pushing it on what we can consider aim, at least in reference to what they've played so far, right? The Nomad 1 was 200 BPM. That's the map that they won. The Nomad 3, which I would say is the most comparable second map to talk about here, was 134 BPM, which is actually lower BPM than the DT1, even considering multiplying that BPM by 2 to try and match a DT BPM. So this is pretty much a really awkward alt pick.
But it's a very short map. It's a very short map. And that is critical with things like adjustment to the map. You don't have that time, because your score is going to rocket up. And if you start finding early misses, you might not get a second chance to get back into this map, because it's over like that.
Yeah, after DT, you are looking at a map that is a clean 89 seconds long. That is not very long at all. Every single miss, like you said, will stick and it will feel awful. And you're gonna look back on it and it's like, oh man, if only I didn't miss there. I actually just got 300k for free.
Oh, it's like TV size. Yeah.
Yeah, TV size after DT.
TV size after DT. You know, yeah.
Welcome to OSU tournaments. We play TV size maps here.
But with DT.
Ooh.
Keeping it fresh, keeping it funky. But yeah, with that, our first dip really into mods today, and it's put a little asterisk on it because it doesn't really change too much apart from the speed element and the length element and everything we just discussed. But there you go. That's mods for us. So we kick off this map, and everyone adjusting really well to this, actually.
Yeah, it's essentially Air 10.3 alt. If you played the Nomad 3, you should be already kind of warm for something like this, but the awkward aim element is really something to talk about here. Garalulu the first to go down, and you might say, oh, it's an early break, it doesn't matter. No, we're already a quarter of the way through the map. Things are going fast.
Yeah, it's not that margin forever. You can't afford to be dropping a quarter of the way into the map. Oh, there's a lot of pressure on Mikhail right now. He's dropping accuracy left, right, and center. Bronya in the same boat as well. Accuracy-wise, JeongJin looking a lot stronger, and that break from Bronya is going to hurt, and hurt bad, as immediately it flips back the other way. But there is still time for that to revert.
Yeah, Kiai's upcoming. This is where it really matters. The jumps are about to get really awkward and really high space. Every single break here in this Ki section will matter. My keyboard the first to go down. There's 2 FCs on the Let's LARP side, 1 on the JeongJin side. You are looking at Ronipan, Mikhail, and Lifetime to hold on. Mikhail, not great accuracy. Lifetime, incredible accuracy. Ronipan, middle of the road, but Ronipan's going to find the break. Garalulu, the only combo remaining on JeongJin. They're still holding a score lead, especially with a Lifetime break. Mikhail's FC might not matter just because of the accuracy. And JeongJin able to take it just a little more consistent.
Again, think back to that early break from Garalulu. Quarter of the way through the map, we said it would have an impact, and it really did. Because coming out of that, that was the miss that could have been rectified. If that hadn't happened, we would have been looking at an FC and a victory there for JeongJin, but that's not the way. Oh, sorry, for Let's LARP. I do apologize. I got my colours mixed up there. That's a very unusual thing for me to do.
Yeah, early break from Garalulu certainly put the fear in the hearts. I think JeongJin had that so much easier had Garalulu not broken, but still able to take the break point. A break point that they... Sorry, not a break point. My bad. Oh my gosh.
See?
Not a break point. My
See?
bad. All right.
See?
Those are hard, man. Okay, 23, and I don't know what red and blue are. Wow, alright.
Here we go.
We're gonna pick the free mod 3. Flying Theta met by Arid's V.
So here we go. They're finally spreading their wings a little bit. Let's LARP. Kind of showing us something that we've not really seen yet. They did have a free mod picked against them. It was the high BPM awkward aim, free mod 1 from last week. And this doesn't follow it, but I can see why they've picked it. You know, looking at what this type of map is, you can definitely see why they've gone into it.
Yeah, following a Nomad 2, Nomad 4, and Nomad 3 win all, you're looking at kind of a rhythmic sort of tech map. Alt BPM, this is sitting at 156 BPM. But there's a little bit of rhythmic variation, 1/4, 1/3, 1/6 spread throughout the map. A little reminder of the free mod rules. It is 1 hidden player, 1 hard rock player, and 1 player with any valid mod combination with hidden hard rock, flashlight, and easy. They cannot play no mod. And combination can just be 1 mod, to be clear. So that last player could just play basically anything they want as long as it's no mod. Yeah, this one's I like this pick a lot coming off of the Nomad 4 win. Obviously, this is a lot techier than anything we've seen. Like, even the No Mod 4, I would say it's slightly techier than, just because of the No Mod 4's like sort of flow mechanics focus. And so this one's gonna be really interesting, especially with the mods in play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious to see what players kind of stick to what mods, because we really don't have a clear picture of that. Because of the way this match has gone, we really don't have any info on what they would prefer to play, but we can see an interesting contrast. The red team opting for 2 of the red mod, and Let's LARP, the blue team, opting for 2 of that hidden mod. So very nice on the eyes, this one.
Daring of you to go for colors here.
I took a chance.
Well, congratulations, you got it right, I think. But as far as getting it right goes, I'm not seeing a lot of it on JeongJin. 2 breaks so far, and the one seeing player is sitting at a clean 90% accuracy on Crazy. Not the greatest start for them on this map. This double Hard Rock might be biting them a little bit. Lifetime and Note KJK on the double hidden. Meanwhile, looking golden.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at how this is going so far, apart from that reset from Bronya, nothing really phasing this Let's LARP squad. The pressure is so much more on JeongJin, as they really do not want to drop any more combo if they can afford it, if they've got the room to let it in. They just need to hope that something's going to change on the side of Let's LARP, because it has to, right? For them to get back into this, it has to change.
Yeah, no KDK is going to find a break that could be your opening, but you've got no FCs and very low team accuracy. Crazy is not a contender anymore. Lifetime does go down, though, and suddenly Ronipan with that recovered combo with Garlulu, like, you need more breaks in order to do this. Like, you need no KJK and Lifetime on the recovery to just not find their footing, but it is possible. Garlulu goes down, Lifetime trades it, but that's not a trade that benefits you at all.
No, and Ronipan's gone. Nope, KJK did trade it up, but there's no combo anywhere. And that just means that scorebar is going to put its foot down and say, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay at 280, 290k towards the end of the map. And that just spells out another win for Let's LARP. They've been picking so well here. Not put a foot wrong, and really, that's what's got them to match point here. Very well done.
Just need one more to win it. Not a breakpoint, fun fact, for Let's LARP. Taking their free mod 3 pick. It's been 3 really, really good picks for Let's LARP. And that No Mod 2, I would honestly say No Mod 2 mispick from JeongJin is really, really coming to bite them at this point in the match. They are facing really, really good strategy on the side of Let's LARP. It just feels like really well-considered picks all throughout from them. And JeongJin losing the literal first map of the match, their first pick, it's kind of demoralizing, honestly. It feels like this is a competitive match, but that they just gave one for free away. And now not only are they going to have to win this next pick of theirs, but also, even after winning this coming pick, they have to win Let's LARP's final pick.
And yeah, so we're looking now towards final picks of the match. Not necessarily something that a lot of teams factor into, and this makes... Hang on. Let's think about this. There's got to be a reason. Nope. So, drawing a blank. Nope, got nothing.
Yeah, you ban reading. You pick 3 mechanics maps.
Yep.
You win 2 of them.
Yep.
And you pick reading.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's how it's gone.
I was going to say 3 mod 1. I'm really confused.
Hidden 1, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Totally get it. Hidden 2, No.
I don't get this one. Okay, so I talked about it earlier, how I said No Mod 5 is the map you want to ban if you want to ban reading, because No Mod 5 is the most, like, reading map in the pool. Density, overlap, kind of stuff. This Hated 2 is a pattern aim map, but it's also 161 BPM. It is clearly meant to be dense. This is still AR8 hidden reading. It's not like it's not reading, it's just that it has more of an aim element than the No Mod 5 would. But I would think if you're banning No Mod 5, you're not picking Hidden 2 because the maps are still related in terms of skill set. So I'm very, very interested what the team sheet looks like here, because team sheet is the only thing I can see explaining this one.
Especially off the fact that when we just played that free mod, they had 2 members of their roster opt into playing Hard Rock.
Yeah.
So that again reiterates the point that they're not necessarily a hidden focused team. Okay, you know what? Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. They must have something planned. They've got something in mind.
Okay. Hear me out. Here's the theory. They were like, no matter what we do, Let's LARP is going to pick Hidden 2. So let's pick Hidden 2 before they can to throw them off. True?
Yeah, they won't be practiced. They won't be ready for this.
Exactly.
Complete form. I hope.
Yeah, very interesting pick. Hope to see some magic from JeongJin. It's their tournament life on the line after all. Makabe Aronipan Crazy versus Lifetime Bronya Nope KJK on this very surprising Hidden 2 pick.
And Ronipan already having a rough start. I don't know what to think at this point.
Yeah, I don't like that accuracy, but maybe it's just the initial adjustment. Going into the aim, a Lifetime, the first drop, created by Makabeya, though. 2 FCs apiece in the bottom row.
Ronipan going to be finding a reset alongside Lifetime, but that's not an even trade. There goes Bronya, though. So we're still on 1 apiece. Crazy there with Nope KJK. That's going to be a heck of a battle. It's going to be about supporting combos, and at the moment, Makabeya actually recovering better than Let's LARP. This might actually be a hidden gem pick. We might have spoken too soon. First quarter of the map, early days, I know, but wow. Not the start I was expecting.
Yeah, it could be, but you're looking at 2 FCs, 1 on each side of the team. If either of them go, they both go at the same time, and suddenly there's a bit of a story here. There's nobody holding but Makabeya. Breaks early on, but it doesn't matter if you're holding on when it counts, right? You're still building up that score lead. There's no combo to contest you, and it's going to take a while to get any recovery going for Let's LARP, and suddenly Makabeya, yeah, you know what? Maybe the team sheets do tell a different story than we were expecting, Demarsh.
They've just... Why have they held on to this? It just makes even less sense. They've had this map in their back pocket the whole game. And they've picked it now? When their tournament
knows how to aim the slider ticks. They're not like reading the sliders, they're just aiming right before every slider tick. This map has been practiced. They were ready for this.
It makes even less sense. You just have to nod your head and just watch. There's nothing else to really say. They're absolutely steamrolling right now. Quarter of the map left and they're 200k up, and there's still misses coming in from Let's LARP. It's just no KJK with any form of supporting combo, but it doesn't matter because Makabeya and Crazy. This is mental.
This is insane. This is not a pick I expected them to win. This is the pick that I expected them to have to play on to reach tiebreaker from Let's LARP. I can't believe what we're seeing. It's a dominant score on this Hidden 2 from the same team that banned reading at the start of the match. Oh my god, they hit that. Oh my god, Makabeya and Crazy hit that.
And Makabeya finally drops, but the damage has been done. The story has been written crazy there with the support combo. Just to isolate anything no KJK could try and recover. And it pretty much 500k. It's gonna go the way of JeongJin on Hidden 2 to keep us and them in the game.
It's 1 pick left. Let's LARP the final pick of the match before either Let's LARP moves on or we go to a tiebreaker. And I cannot overstate just how weird that whole map was. And I have to imagine it, if you're Let's LARP, I feel like you're kind of, I would say, frustrated about that. That's not a pick that you expected coming from the opposing team, I would have to imagine. And it's not a pick you might have expected to lose either.
No, definitely not. Again, like you said, confidence should be running high in a team like this. You know, it's like, well, they banned reading. They're not going to be good at reading. They must be throwing this match. Oh, okay. Yeah, we can just kind of go into this. And then they pull that off. Yeah, I can't think of many teams that wouldn't be completely frazzled right now. And hey, it might work to their favor going into Let's LARP's last pick. If they don't shut it down here, we're going to the tiebreaker. And I don't know what they're going to pick. I have no idea.
Yeah, look at the rest of the pool. It's like all mechanics. Unless you want to go Hard Rock 1, which, again, we've talked about how Let's LARP isn't comfortable on the Hard Rock, and you see it. Hidden 1 is the pick, coming from Bronya. 180 BPM, hidden pattern aim. Hey, Demarsh, question. What did we just play? That's right, 161 BPM pattern aim. The only thing that has changed is that the AR is higher, and the BPM is higher. It's still the same skill set. This one, it's a lot of space bursts, but you want to talk about bursts, JeongJin is not bad at them. This is going to be a really, really tough pick for Let's LARP. This is not the just coasting to the finish line.
No, it really isn't. And again, you've got the players on JeongJin who are now quite comfortable in their reading. They're quite comfortable with the awkwardness that comes with it, with the density and all the things that you'd expect to trip them up. They treat it like a warm-up, and it's worked for them because Let's LARP didn't really have any other options. They've had to go into it because it's what they're quite strong on. And now they don't look as strong going into this map. They look to be on the back foot. And we might be looking at a tiebreaker here. It's going to come down to this map, obviously, but I cannot pick a winner here.
Yeah, we very well could be. A 180 BPM Halia map is all that separates us from the answer. And again, a very, very interesting one. 2 minutes, 47 seconds. He has 3.7, which is kind of a saving grace when you consider the space bursts scattered all throughout this map. What I'm interested in is how this map progresses. It's very pattern aim focused early on, and as the map goes on, it slowly and slowly gets more and more bursty. Now, we have seen the one burst map that we've seen played was the Nomad Suit, which Let's LARP would take a breakpoint on. However, it's a very different type of map. You're looking at a 60 BPM difference between that map and this. So it's going to be a different skill set check entirely, where the Nomad Suit did not have aim requirement on this burst. Again, I cannot stress enough that the hidden one has spaced burst. You are looking at very, very different type of flow aim here. One that we have really not seen throughout this entire match. But what I'm most interested in is just the aim.
Well, here we go. It is map number 8 of this match, and already filled with some early misses. But nothing really. That's game defining. Macabea does find a reset though early on, but there's so much time left. It's basically nothing really scale wise. But a break from Lifetime only leaves 2 full combos for Let's LARP. Ronipan there with the full combo, and the 2 supports make that 1 support from JeongJin. Gonna try and keep them in this, but they are trailing right now.
Yeah, Bronya and KJK both holding on to full combos. There is not a match second full combo from the side of JeongJin, although they do have Crazy's nearly full combo. It doesn't really count. It is that slight score lead for Let's LARP. On the Ki, nobody really struggling so much on the aim. It's been the burst. They've been the story of the match so far. Nobody's going to break on the burst ending the first Ki. Map's going to slow down a little bit, but still a little tricky here. Next break could be game defining. You're looking at fairly big combos now. and it's not a huge score difference. A one break could open the game up for whatever team is lucky enough to receive the opponent's break.
Yeah, I think even those supporting combos are not safe from that same situation. It will come down to the next break, and it's Bronya to go. The full combo for Let's LARP. Possibly the worst situation with Lifetime and Crazy, and 3 breaks. There's one name remaining, and it is No KJK on the hidden. We're 2/3 of the way through the map, and this is looking like a dire circumstance for JeongJin. Their tournament might just be over right now.
Oh no, that's the worst. You can.
Oh, it's gone.
But nope goes. Makabeya, Roni Van, they've got some sort of combo, but with Lifetime fighting them off, it's actually the score lead is still building against them as they both break, and suddenly there's a quarter of the map left and a 100k score lead, and suddenly it doesn't look so doable anymore. As long as Lifetime can hold on through the burst, they do. For the map left, one really, really dense Ki left. Now, it's not over just because of the rhythm density, but they need multiple breaks in succession on that last Ki. They need to hold completely strong on the side of JeongJin. A single break spells disaster for this team.
There goes no KJK again. Lifetime finds a reset as well. Maybe there's a chance, but Crazy finds a reset. There goes Lifetime, but is there enough time for Ronipan to pull this back? I don't think so. The time has just run out for JeongJin. Just can't find a way in.
Yeah, single break once again did spell disaster. They found 2. Sure, they found the reset on the player that they needed to see go down, but it wasn't enough in the end. A very, very hard-fought match between 2 very mechanically gifted teams in JeongJin and Let's LARP. But Let's LARP, off the back of that first map breakpoint, is going to find it. There wasn't a single breakpoint for the rest of the match. The 5-3 scoreline will finish off this round of 16 losers bracket match. Let's LARP moving on. JeongJin officially out of the tournament.
Yeah, and again, the score margin just reflects just how close that this actually was. You know, 2 closely very seeded teams, but it is the highest seeded team that just walks away with the victory on this one. But my God, it was not a lot. Not a lot at all. And we could have easily been looking at a tiebreaker situation there, even towards the end. But a great match from 2 very good teams.
Yeah, really, really hard fought, really entertaining match. Directions we didn't expect to go, for sure. But Let's LARP able to close it out after losing 0-5 last week. I'm sure it feels good to get one on the board. Not just one map, but one match. Moving on to the quarterfinals. A little more comfortable than they might have been, yesterday.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. So that kind of is going to wrap us up here. But I do believe we've got more matches on the way.
Yes,
very
in
soon.
fact, on this A stream, do not leave. We literally have one coming the second this match ends. So, we've been Taikani and Demarsh. Been a great match. Been great to have you. Stick around because, again, the second that we go offline, we got another match right upcoming. So don't go anywhere. There's a lot more Resurrection Cup this weekend.